Every day, the Earth is getting warmer. But have you ever wondered why?
It's not only caused by a hot climate, it happens because of a thing called the greenhouse effect, an essential process for the Earth.
But humans have changed the balance of the greenhouse effect. This causes climate change. Today, we're going to talk about a potential solution to climate change, which is nuclear power.
Here's how it works. According to the United Nations article, the sun first emits energy towards the Earth's surface. This warms the Earth up, including land, ocean, and air. The Earth reflects some of that energy back into space in a form of infrared radiation.
But then gases like carbon dioxide and methane trap some of that heat and reflect it back on Earth. These gases are called the greenhouse gases, and they keep our planet warm enough to live on.
Ever since the Industrial Revolution, humans as a whole have been burning massive amounts of fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas. This causes billions of tons of carbon dioxide to be released into the atmosphere.
That extra carbon in the atmosphere traps even more heat, creating something called the enhanced greenhouse effect, which leads to global warming.
The term global warming refers to the Earth's average temperature rising. However, in contrast to climate change, this means long-term shifts in weather patterns. This impacts things like rainfall, wind, and ocean currents.
So what can we do to stop global warming and climate change? Well, one of the most promising solutions to date is nuclear energy. The science behind nuclear energy is not as simple as it may seem, so let's break it down. As stated by an article by the US Department of Energy, everything in our universe is made up of atoms, like humans, animals, and plants, and so on. In every atom, there's a nucleus made up of protons and neutrons. These neutrons are then used inside the nuclear reactor.
In nuclear power plants, the process to create this energy is called nuclear fission. This process begins with the uranium, which serves as the raw material that is later used as fuel.
The uranium's atoms are forced into tiny pellets, then stacked into long metal rods. Hundreds of these rods make up an assembly, and hundreds of assemblies make up a nuclear core.
Inside the reactor, water surrounds the metal rods, acting as both a coolant and a moderator to control the reaction.
Then, a free neutron hits the uranium atom at very high speed, causing it to split into two smaller atoms. This process releases immense amount of heat and 2 to 3 more neutrons, which then each hit another uranium atom, causing a chain reaction.
That heat then transforms water into steam, which causes a turbine that is connected to a generator to spin. In the end, this process is what creates the energy.
And just like that, nuclear energy can power schools, homes, and cities. From an environmental standpoint, nuclear energy is recognized as both one of the cleanest and most efficient energy sources we have today. As stated by the International Atomic Energy Agency, a nuclear power plant emits close to zero CO2, which according to the US Department of Energy prevents up to 471 million tons of carbon dioxide from entering the Earth's atmosphere.
That's similar to taking nearly 100 million cars off the road.
One shocking fact about nuclear energy is that according to EDF Energy, just one pellet of uranium can produce the same amount of energy as 800 kilograms of coal.
Additionally, as stated by Fawaz Huber, an author of the International Atomic Energy Agency article, nuclear power plants last up to 80 years and can run 24/7 around the clock. They also run in any weather conditions, making them an extremely reliable source of energy that supplies millions daily.
But as we know, everything has downsides, no matter how good it seems.
Nuclear power plants tend to produce radioactive waste. The main challenge we face with this is where do we store it? This radioactive waste is extremely dangerous and lasts thousands of years. Storing it is a huge challenge. According to a World Nuclear Association article, the best solution to storing radioactive waste is to store it deep underground, isolated with salt, clay, and rocks to prevent the radiation from escaping.
It is also very hard to find good places to build these power plants, as even a small natural disaster can cause the whole city to die out. As when the power plant explodes, the radioactive material radiates for miles, and even being exposed to that radioactivity for a short amount of time can kill you. Also, they use large amounts of water, which can harm local ecosystems. Finding a good location that will minimize the effects of possible mistakes isn't easy.
From a social standpoint, nuclear power is a reliable source of energy, but workers and residents are at risk of getting health issues caused by the radiation. Also, these plants are security threats due to the fact that they deal with hazardous materials.
Ethically, nuclear power effectively supports clean and sustainable energy. However, it still raises questions. An example of this is what do future generations do with the waste that they didn't generate?
Knowing this, do you think nuclear energy is the answer to climate change? The truth is, it's very complicated to give a black and white answer.
In the end, it is a high-risk, high-reward solution. On one hand, it could drastically cut down our CO2 emissions, while on the other hand, it requires very strict safety guidelines. According to an article posted by the World Nuclear Association, a nuclear power plant can cost up to $7 billion to build alone. This means that poorer countries cannot afford to build this, raising questions about fairness.
If used correctly, nuclear energy could be a growing solution to global warming and climate change. With the growing economy, more and more countries will be able to afford to build these nuclear power plants. So what do you think of this? Is nuclear energy the future of energy production, or is it just an unnecessary risk we shouldn't take?
Tell us your opinion in the comment section. If you agree with this method, you can raise awareness by sharing this video to play your part in climate change and clean energy.